Every year at this time of year, or at least almost every year at this time of year, you start hearing people maybe tweeting or posting on Facebook or talking with your buddies over text message or something. People start saying, "Ugh, the rut sucks this year. Nothing's going on. Why isn't there a rut happening this year? The rut, maybe I missed the rut. The rut must be late this year. The rut must have been earlier this year." You start hearing people getting frustrated because they're not seeing the rutting activity that they think they should, right? You know, when you talk about November, it should be hot and heavy. This should be it. Action should be just off the charts. But oftentimes it's not. Oftentimes the rut we actually experience is nothing like what we see on TV. So what do you do in that kind of situation? If you are right now dealing with a tough whitetail rut, maybe it's your rut vacation, you took a week off of work or 2 weeks off of work or whatever, and if you've just been experiencing really slow, poor hunts, what should you do? That's a really good question, and I've been in that type of situation myself many times, and I've been frustrated many times, and so I've had to deal with it. And I think there's a handful of things to keep in mind. Number one, I think you need to understand and realize that this happens. It's not abnormal. Almost every year, you're going to have pieces and parts and portions of the typical rutting time frame when it's going to get cold. And when I say cold, I don't mean cold temperature, I mean cold as far as action. The rut is a very here and there kind of thing, hot and cold, off and on. At least the visible activity that we see as deer hunters. So you need to just kind of come to terms with that reality. This is how it's going to be. There might be a day that's great, and then there might be 2-3 days where it's not so great. Because, right, think about what's happening at this time of year. You've got does steadily becoming more and more does steadily coming into heat. So as more does come into heat, you're going to have more bucks, chasing and trying to catch up to those does. So at first, you're going to have in the early stages of the rut, there might just be one doe, let's say, hypothetically, in an area that comes into heat. When that first doe comes into heat, every buck in the general area is going to want to get after that doe. So you're going to get a large concentration of bucks right in and around that one doe, wherever she might be. If you happen to be where that doe is, you're going to be in some terrific rutting action. If you happen to be sitting where that doe is not, you might be in for a horribly slow day or two. So that's something that could happen early in the rut. Now as you move forward later into the rut, maybe mid-November, now you've got tons of does that are hot. You've got lots of bucks that are now locked onto those does and breeding or preparing to breed. Now all of a sudden you've got a really slow period too, where, gosh, you haven't seen a darn buck in 2 days or something. And all you see is an occasional fawn by itself walking, or a doe looking over her shoulder, but no buck following her. What's going on? Well, you could be having that type of lockdown situation. So in either one of these circumstances, though, whether it be, all the bucks are chasing one doe or all the bucks are locked down with does, that's never a rule, right? There's always going to be some buck at some point that's going to be doing its own thing. So the key, I think, during this time period, even if the rut has sucked so far for you, you need to know that there will be tough times, there will be slow periods, but you got to stick with it. You got to stick with the game plan. You need to stick to what you know to be true about hunting the rut. And if you keep those couple core principles in mind and stay with that, if you can put the time in, it's going to work out. So those core principles, and we talk about this a lot, but the core principles are pinch points. Bucks are going to be moving a lot. If you find places where the terrain funnels deer down, funnels movement down, you're in a good place to see rutting activity. Or downwind of bedding areas. If you're downwind of those bedding areas that bucks are going to be checking throughout the day for hot does, you're going to be in a good spot for rutting activity. And then finally, are you putting in the time? Are you going to stick with it? Are you going to stay out there and hunt as much as possible? If you do those three things during the rut, if you stick to that very simple game plan, you can still have success during this time period, even if so far you feel like the rut has just blown. It's been lousy. Even if that's the case, if you stick with those core principles and tough it out, things work out. I mean, for example, a handful of years, a perfect example of this. I was hunting Iowa. I had a couple of buddies that were all hunting there with me, and we had a big warm front come through, and it just destroyed the deer movement. We weren't seeing very much. Things were really slow. We were all getting down. My buddy, I remember the hotel room. Me and my buddy were staying at a hotel room there, and my pal was just like so frustrated, pissed off. He took his vacation. Now it's going to be like 75 degrees. This sucks. This is his one big hunting trip for the year. He was so down. But he stuck with it. He stuck with his game plan, and he kept hunting, even though it was going to be 75. Well, he killed a 150-inch buck on one of those 75-degree days. And the day before that, one of our other buddies killed one on a 73-degree day. And the day after that, his wife killed one on like a 74-degree day. So even when the conditions are lousy, even when the hunting's been tough, things can change in an instant during the rut. So you just need to keep after it. Another thing to keep in mind, again, to what we said earlier, right? The rut can be hot or cold. It can be here and not there, or it can be there and not here. So if you have the flexibility to hunt multiple areas or multiple states or a big property, keep that in mind. If it's been really tough in the little area you've been focused on, it is not a bad idea to get out and check out other areas. Find where that action is, because the rut is very localized. Rutting activity, visible rutting activity, can be very localized. So if you can get out and start driving the back roads and glass some different parts of a property you can hunt, or if you can go check out another property that you can hunt, maybe it's going on there. So keep that flexibility in mind. Be willing to travel, move to different spots, and adjust for how the rut is progressing, or the specific deer that are in that area, how they're progressing through the rut. That can be a big thing to think about. So it's not rocket science. It's not magic. Nothing special. Nothing I just told you here was too terribly profound. But when the rut is going rough, when you're struggling during the rut, it just comes down to toughen it out. It's going to come down to sticking to those core principles of hunting the rut. And then it will come down to, being flexible, being willing to try some new things, being willing to check out some new areas. If you do those three things, though, and if you are able to have enough time to put it in and be in a tree during this best period of the year, at least you can say you did everything you possibly could. Because I think 8 times out of 10, if you do that, good things will happen, and your whitetail rut can be, it can be resuscitated. You can pull victory out of the jaws of defeat. And I do believe that you can do it. I know I've been in many situations like that where I was down and out, and you just got to remember that things can change on just a flip of a coin. I mean, so quickly your whole hunting season can change in a matter of seconds. So I'm just constantly telling myself that when things are tough and I'm bummed out, I just got to keep reminding myself any second now it could change. Any second a big old buck can show up. Any second my dreams could come true. I just need to make sure I'm staying present, staying focused, keeping after it, and making sure I'm there to be able to take advantage of that opportunity if it does come by. So, hope that's helpful. Hope your rut turns around, and good luck out there.